Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. It's a historic day at the Supreme Court of India. A historic day for justice in this country. 9 judges sworn in, 3 among them women, one slated to be Chief Justice of India in the future. All of this broadcast for the first time live on television. What are the implications of so many judges being sworn into the Supreme Court of India? We'll also look at some of the landmark judgments that these judges have had, and of course for women in this country, for all of us in this country, to have 3 Supreme Court women, Supreme Court judges who've been sworn in today, 3 of them women. Absolutely fantastic, because the representation of women in the Supreme Court has been very low. But the big international story has been the last of America's soldiers departing Afghanistan. Is India now compelled to engage with the Taliban? India has reached out to their political leaders in Doha, Qatar. But really, what is the future in engaging with what many see to be a terrorist regime? But first, this story. 9 new judges, including 3 women, were sworn in today as judges of the Supreme Court by the Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramana.
I, Abhay Vikram Nath,
having been appointed
a judge of the Supreme Court of India, do swear in the name of God
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India.
The first time in the history of the top court that 9 judges took oath of office at one go to clear a massive, almost 2-year backlog in which no appointments were made. The ceremony, which is traditionally held in the Chief Justice of India's courtroom, was held today in the auditorium of the Supreme Court due to COVID protocols. 3 out of these 9 new judges are in line to become Chief Justice of India: Justice Vikram Nath, Justice P.S. Narasimha and Justice BV Nagarathna. Justice BV Nagarathna will become the first woman Chief Justice of India in 2027. This is also the first time that 3 women judges took oath of office in one go: Justices Hima Kohli, Bela Trivedi and BV Nagarathna. The 9 newly appointed judges are Justice Abhay Oka.
I,
Abhay
having been appointed a judge of the Supreme Court of India,
Justice Vikram Nath.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India,
Justice J.K. Maheshwari.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India,
Justice Hima Kohli.
I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India.
Justice B.V. Nagarathna.
Having been appointed a judge of the Supreme Court of India,
Justice C.T. Ravi Kumar.
do swear in the name of God
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
Justice M.M. Sundaresh.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India,
Justice Bela Trivedi.
and faithfully and to the best of my ability, knowledge and judgment,
Justice P.S. Narasimha.
and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established.
With these new appointments, the strength of judges in the Supreme Court will increase from 24 to 33 with just 1 vacancy pending. In New Delhi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Well, we've got a wonderful panel of retired judges with us. But first up, Justice Usha Mehra. She was the former judge of the Delhi High Court. Thank you, ma'am, very much for being with us. Isn't it fantastic to have 3 women sworn in on one day to the Supreme Court of India as Supreme Court judges? Because the past record over so many decades has been quite poor. Very few women have been sworn in as judges, but today 3 on one day. How welcome is that in a move?
It's so good to hear that one of the lady judge will be the Chief Justice of India. This is it's a news which thrills everyone, and these ladies have been elevated not because of seniority, but because of their merits. I can say about Justice Hima Kohli because she is from Delhi High Court, and I have seen her practicing in the bar, and then coming up as a very good lawyer and picked up directly from the bar to the bench. And she has been one of the best judges, lady judges, who had been performing very good during the pandemic.
Yes.
She did a lot of social, delivered judgment which are of social in nature. She took up the government, central government as well as the Delhi government on task when she found that the oxygen and other things were not made available to the poor people. She believes in social justice, and there are landmark judgment delivered by Justice Hima Kohli, because she is from Delhi. I know her, and how she on merit has come up to Supreme Court, and she as a Chief Justice of Telangana High Court has also delivered landmark judgments touching the social fiber of the society.
Yeah.
And I think Justice Trivedi,
Yes.
Justice Bela Trivedi,
Yes.
is also known to be a very good judge of the Gujarat High Court, and so is Justice BV Nagarathna
Yes.
from Karnataka High Court.
Yes.
They have come on merit, and the thing which delighted me most is that for the first time we will have a lady Chief Justice of India, maybe for 1 month.
Yeah.
I wish.
It certainly sets
I'm
a wonderful.
thankful to
it's
Chief
a wonderful
Justice of India
start when it does
as
happen.
well as to the collegium.
Ma'am, today was
It's
also an
wonderful.
interesting day.
And I
because
must
the
congratulate.
Ma'am, it was also a wonderful day today because the Chief Justice chose to actually allow a broadcast of all of this, them being sworn in. It's not been allowed in the past. In
I'm
many
saying-
ways, the Supreme Court was, in a sense, stodgy. I mean, this was behind closed doors in the past. But they really opened up today to allow all of us to see it, and how welcome is that as a move?
And this Chief Justice of India deserve the congratulations of all ladies who have retired or the ladies who are practicing, that it's a very bold decision to take all the 3 judges. Beside being on seniority, they are judges of merit to the Supreme Court of India.
Yeah.
I must congratulate him for this.
And how important is it, ma'am, that the entire issue of vacancies in the Supreme Court, which was a huge problem, which was repeatedly spelled
Huge
out
problem.
even in the past by Chief Justices, by swearing in 9 judges today, you have just 1 vacancy left, which means that the court will operate almost at 100%, in a 100% optimal state. India needs that. We don't have enough judges, particularly in the Supreme Court. It's key.
Because pendency in the Supreme Court affects the lower judiciary, High Court as well as lower judiciary, because certain decisions which are given by the Supreme Court has a far-reaching consequences on the cases pending in the trial court as well as in the High Court. Much of the pendency will go away when the Supreme Court delivers the judgment quickly and in a fast manner.
Sure. Well, it is a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks very much for your thoughts today, ma'am. We are joined at this stage by Justice Deepak Gupta, the former Supreme Court judge. Sir, thanks very much for being with us. It's a wonderful day, isn't it? And I'll ask you that first question. The issue of vacancies in the court, the fact that the Supreme Court for years and years was not operating in an optimal condition, that has been rectified. Only 1 vacancy left thus far. How important is that, A, in sending a message to other courts, and B, ensuring that justice is delivered at the very highest court?
I think it's very important in a country like India, where we have a lot of pendency in every court, right from the Supreme Court to the Mufassal courts, that all posts are filled. And I think I must congratulate Justice Ramana, the Chief Justice of India, and his members of the Collegium for taking the step of appointing 9 judges out of the 10 vacancies. I wish there was a 10th filled in by Justice Qureshi. That's what I would have felt. I would have been much more happier. But I'm very happy with what the 9 have done. I mean, these 9, giving representation to women is very, very important.
Sure.
Giving representation to the other, I will not say scheduled caste, but other castes is also important. Giving representation to the various states is also important.
Yeah.
You see, when the Supreme Court decided that there will be a collegium system,
Yes.
one problem which had arisen was that otherwise every High Court would have a Chief Justice from their own High Court.
Right.
So even if you did not come to the Supreme Court, you would be Chief Justice of your own High Court. Now what is happening is, in the smaller courts, you don't end up becoming a Chief Justice in your own court, because they say Chief Justice should be transferable. And since you belong to a smaller court, like I did from Himachal, I was lucky to come to the Supreme Court. But many from smaller courts don't come up to the Supreme Court. And I can tell you that the whole of the judicial wisdom does not reside in Delhi and Bombay alone.
No,
some of us in the smaller courts are as good as the others in the bigger courts.
Justice, if you just go through the profile of some of the judges, which I was doing, they have all been wonderful defenders of the essence of our constitution and human rights. For example, Justice Oka, instrumental in providing food, transport and shelter to migrants during the pandemic. We know in India how difficult that situation was. Justice Nath, the Gujarat Freedom of Religion Amendment Act 2021, he held that it did not stand. It will not apply against couples who enter into interreligious marriages of their own free will. Justice Hima Kohli hit out at states for stopping the entry of COVID-19 patients from neighbouring states. Justice Nagarathna might well be India's first woman Chief Justice. A huge champion of women's rights in this country. And I think Justice Ravi Kumar, that one quote of his, which I found very interesting, law is long but life is short. That is so important because things go on forever, unfortunately, in our courts. So the question I'm asking you, sir, just on the basis of these examples, these women and men are all champions of what India should be all about, correct?
I absolutely agree with you, Som. I mean, I feel Justice Oka is one of the brightest judges in the country. I have no doubt about it. Justice Hima Kohli is very good. I've had the occasion of knowing Justice Nagarathna while working in the juvenile justice field. She has great empathy for juveniles. And I have also read her judgments, which are very good. I'm not aware of all the judges, but Justice Vikram Nath has also given this fantastic judgment in Gujarat, which speaks a lot about not only his independence, but also his, his being a liberal judge for fighting for human rights. For me, that is very, I've always said it time and again, courts have two jobs. The Supreme Court has two jobs. One is as an arbiter of dispute between parties. One is as a defender of the human rights of the citizens. In the Supreme Court, where we have Article 32 to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens, it's very important that our judges are equally important defenders of human rights. And I have great hopes and expectations from the 9 ladies and gentlemen who have adorned the Supreme Court.
Absolutely, and let's just hope that defense of our fundamental freedoms continues and is championed by the Supreme Court in the manner in which we hope it is. Thank you very much, Justice, for speaking to us. Wonderful to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed. We're moving on now to the big international story. The last American soldiers have now left Afghanistan. What's the future going to be? Well, India appears to be taking a pragmatic move at this stage. India's envoy to Qatar has met the Taliban political office head. The meet focused on the safe return of Indians, and India raised the issue of Afghan soil being used for terror. The Taliban representative, Mohammad Stanikzai, who incidentally trained in the Indian military academy in the late 70s and early 80s and trained actually as a Jawan prior to that in India. He responded apparently favorably, but it's a difficult choice for India because for decades India in the past has supported the resistance in Afghanistan, but perhaps engaging the Taliban might be the need of the hour. Well, joining us now, Kabir Taneja, a fellow at the Strategic Affairs at the Observer Research Foundation. Thanks, Kabir, very much for being with us. We're also joined by Sameer Ahmed. He's worked as a journalist in Afghanistan and has had to leave his own country and come back over here. Thank you both very much for being with us. So, Kabir, let me come to you first. In a situation like this, does India have any option but to engage the Taliban on a consistent basis?
Thanks, Vishnu. I think, India's option, India's view of engaging with the Taliban, the question was not if India should, but when India will. Right. And, we've seen now the sort of outreach which has been reported for the past couple of months as, happening more clandestinely rather than publicly, come out when Stanikzai met the Indian envoy in Qatar today. And, it's you have to see the semantics here. As the readout reads, the Taliban asked for the meeting, and the meeting was held at the Indian embassy. So there was no neutral place that it was held in. It was not held as per sort of the Taliban's requirements and wishes. It was held as per India's requirements and wishes, and that sort of shows a sense of outreach that the Taliban has been vying for quite a while now, and how this goes beyond today's meet is still in a wait and watch situation.
Right. Sameer Ahmed, समीर जब आप अफगानिस्तान में थे और आप यहाँ हिंदुस्तान में आ गए और जब आप वहाँ थे आपको काफ़ी डेथ थ्रेट मिला था, आपको कहा गया था कि अगर आप तालिबान के खिलाफ कुछ रिपोर्ट करते हैं तो आपको मारा जाएगा, तो ये थ्रेट्स के बारे में ज़रा बताइए, आप इंडिया कब वापस लौटे?
जी सलाम अलैकुम, हम समीर अहमद है, हम अफ़गानिस्तान से आए हैं। ये प्रॉब्लम थे, हम जो अफ़गानिस्तान में थे हम एक रिपोर्टर थे और हमारा एक फ़ेसबुक पेज न्यूज़ था, हम न्यूज़ पे शेयर करते हैं फ़ेसबुक पेज में, और वो जो तालिबान के ख़िलाफ़ न्यूज़ पे हम उसी के पेश करते। एक दिन मुझे व्हाट्सएप में मैसेज आया था, वो तुम्हें डॉक्यूमेंट्स तुम लोगों के हम शेयर किया है, मैसेज आया था जो तुम इसी काम मत करो वरना हम तुम्हारे सर काटेंगे, बहुत बोलते हो। वो हम जो चाहेंगे उसका वो जो मैसेज है वो सेव करेंगे, वो डिलीट एवरीवन हो चुके। इसलिए हम 27 ऑफ जून में थे जो हम अफ़गानिस्तान से छोड़ दिया। अभी देश भारत में, इंडिया में देश छोड़ना आसान नहीं है, घर छोड़ना आसान नहीं है। अभी क्या करो, डर की वजह से हम भारत में रहते हैं अभी
और
इंडिया
समीर,
में।
आपका फैमिली कहाँ है इस वक्त? आपका फैमिली आपके साथ यहाँ इंडिया आ चुके हैं?
नहीं, हमारा फैमिली अफ़गानिस्तान में है। ये प्रॉब्लम है, हम अभी फैमिली से हम बात नहीं कर सकते इसके, जिसके हम यहाँ पे ऑल ऑफ मीडिया में हम बात करेंगे। ये प्रॉब्लम है जो हम अभी फैमिली से हमारा बात नहीं होता
जी।
जो हमारा फैमिली कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता।
Yeah. Kabir, let me come back to you in a situation like this. What happens now in your sense, to Afghanistan? Because what we are hearing today is in places like the Helmand province or Mazar-e-Sharif or in Kandahar, there are reports of executions. I mean, it's been reported that the Taliban are actually going door to door in some places, according to some reports, and are executing people. So, is this really the worst that people expected, that this is going exactly down that road which people believed wouldn't happen?
Well, the Taliban still has to walk its talk. It's been talking a lot about being a reformed, a changed movement, so to speak. But they haven't really walked the talk as of yet. We still don't know a lot what's happening in the provinces, for example. There's such tight information control at the moment. What we hear today is what Kabul wants us to hear. But we don't know independently what is happening in Khost, what is happening in Helmand, what is happening in Mazar-e-Sharif, Herat, and all these sort of cities. It's only little information that trickles out. So, it's, and we have to, of course, now wait and watch what kind of political process comes out of Kabul. According to all these variables, once they are sort of in place, then I think most countries will be in a better position to react to what the Taliban is doing. But, I wouldn't expect a lot of reform coming from the Taliban, considering ideologically they are still the Taliban of what the Taliban were. And if there is an attempt to push through a lot of change within the Taliban thinking, I think there is going to be some sort of pushback within the Taliban as well. So as I said, it's a wait and watch situation at the moment.
Well, joining us now, Ashraf Haidari. He's been Afghanistan's ambassador to Sri Lanka. Of course, there's been a change of regime now. Thanks, sir, very much for being with us. These are unbelievably difficult times for you and for all of us who are friends of Afghanistan. Now that the Americans have left, the big concern is what is happening in different parts of your country. There are reports of executions being carried out by the Taliban. Is that something you're hearing as well?
That's what I'm reading as well. Unfortunately, remember, we have the freest media in the region. We have reporters, TV channels, radios, hundreds of print papers reporting on any event that used to happen or be happening across the border. So now that's already gone. So what we see is mostly rumors and as well as hearsays and what people come back with from different provinces and then share with relatives and loved ones in Kabul, and that then ultimately gets on social media, and then that's how we learn. So we don't know what has been happening since the takeover by the Taliban of many provinces, provincial centers, and districts where state institutions used to function. Hundreds of thousands of government employees used to live and run those institutions. So we should know maybe in the coming month or 2 or 3 the scale of what could have happened.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for sharing those thoughts with us. It's a terrible situation now in Afghanistan. Now, we've posed several questions on coup. In fact, our viewers have also come in, and Sanjay, for example, writes, Biden has been saying America is back on the international stage, but the US is still conducting the America First policy. Did America make a mistake by withdrawing from Afghanistan without talking with its allies? And there's a poll question as well. Should the United States be accountable for the collapse of Afghanistan? A whopping 82% have said yes, no, 18%. Well, we're going to take a short break at this stage. There's more coming up.